Hi there, my name is Michael Campbell, but you can just call me Mike. I can see that you're interested in learning about my legacy, but if you're going to hear the story of my legacy, you need to know about my backstory and how I got to the legacy to begin with. So, kick back, relax, maybe grab some popcorn or maybe even a soda, and get ready for one hell of a story to be told. So, let's all start with my childhood. I don't really remember much of my childhood. Matter of fact, I don't even remember my parents. I pretty much grew up all on my own, never having any legal guardian or any guardian at all other than myself, really. I would do everything on my own, survive for myself, get food for myself, get a place to live on my own, and even go to school on my own. I honestly don't know where my parents went, but if I ever find them, I'll make sure to tell them that I really miss them, and I really want to know why they left me behind. Perhaps they're dead. But anyway, I really don't remember much of middle school. The story you're about to hear now is my adventures through high school and how I saved the world.
So, it starts out here, at the old ROBLOX High School. This is where I began high school as a freshman. And honestly, going into a new area alone is nerve-wracking and can, well, lead to many new surprises, seeing as they really don't know what's going to happen. Especially when it's completely new people. So that alone made me kinda nervous, but then I find that the new people that I'm around are, well, how do I put this nicely? You know what? Screw it. They were complete idiots. And I don't mean like, you know, kids are idiots and doing stupid things. I mean legitimately they had the IQ of, well, second graders, maybe even below. That might be giving them too much credit. But they were good people. That's what meant the most to me. At that time, I kind of judged them way too early on their intelligence levels. But as time went on, I would realize to judge them based on who they are as people. And they really were good people at heart. They just needed a little help is all. But it would seem that I wouldn't be able to be in that school for very long, because after a few months of being there, the school would have to be shut down. Which was heartbreaking for me because I didn't know where I was going to go. But then I would find out that another school, owned by the same administration, also existed across the other side of the country. And this school was far more successful and had many more students. I was left with no choice but to pack my bags and move on to the next ROBLOX High School. It was sad leaving the old one behind, but I didn't really have much of a choice now, did I? After a very lengthy plane ride, I would find myself across the country, but more importantly, in a brand new school. After just mere months of finding myself in a brand new environment, I was once again brought into yet another brand new environment. Only this one was a little easier getting used to, because the students there were exactly the same, completely mindless, but good at heart, and that's what mattered most to me. Well, not then. I kind of still somewhat judged them on their intelligence, but over time I would get used to learn, you know, to judge them as they are as people. But anyway, I would spend the rest of my high school career in this high school, and I would very quickly begin to call this place my home. And honestly, I still miss it to this day. But anyways, after I would spend my full rest of my freshman year, and then half of my sophomore year at this school, something amazing took place. Well, when it happened then it wasn't that amazing, but looking back on it, it truly was an amazing spectacle. After I spent the rest of my freshman year, and only a few months into my sophomore year at the new ROBLOX High School, rumors began to spread around school of a hidden portal on campus. I found this completely ridiculous, using logic, and denied these claims. And I would tell people all the time. I was quite vocal about it. But every time I said something about it, people were telling me I was a conspiracy theorist, and that I should find out for myself. And at first I was just like, no, you guys are like drunk or something. But eventually it began to become clear to me that people really did believe this. At first I thought it was some kind of joke, but it wasn't. People really believed it. So I did my own investigation. Most people claimed that it was somewhere along the local beach onto the rocks. So I looked around that area, and sure enough, there was a cave. This cave, really looking back on it, was not a good idea for me to go into at the time, because I had no idea what was in there. But curiosity got the better of me, and I would go into the cave, not knowing what lied down below. And in I went. At first there really wasn't much around, but I would see there was a way down, and down that pathway was it. The portal everybody was talking about. At first I could hardly believe it, and my curiosity got the better of me once again, and I entered the portal, and I entered a new realm that I would soon call my home. I would then enter what I would later call the realm of Minecraft. I would very soon find a house right where I landed. But I didn't know who lived there, considering I didn't know anybody in this world. So I very cautiously entered the house. Inside that house, I would find my brother. Well, not really my brother. I would later call him my brother. His name is Clyde. He would teach me everything I know about surviving in Minecraft. Because at the time, I was pretty much trapped in that dimension. I had no way of getting back home. So, Clyde apparently had also come from Roblox at one point in his life, but he couldn't find a way out either. But instead of trying to find a way out, he just decided to accept this place as his home. So, he saw the worry in my face and decided to help me find a way to escape the Minecraft dimension. But in order to do that, I had to survive and get the materials necessary in order to build a portal. After spending much bonding time with Clyde, we would finally find a way to open the portal back to the Roblox dimension. I thought Clyde would come back with me, but he decided to stay here, where he belonged, I guess, in his mind anyway, and I would go back through the portal and go back home. I thought maybe I'd never see Clyde again, but it would turn out that the portal in the Roblox High School was still open, and the portal that I used to get out would also remain open. So I was able to visit Clyde at any time I wanted to, as long as I was able to find the time to go into the portal and out. The following year came an event that I will remember for the rest of my life. And honestly, I think one event that humanity itself will remember for the rest of its existence. Because on one day in my junior year in high school, humanity's worst fears became a reality. An attack from outer space. Yes, you heard me correctly. An attack from outer space. Aliens, in fact. Now, this does sound like something that would come out of a children's fictional tale, but let me tell you, it was reality, and I was caught right in the middle of it. Kind of odd, really, that a high school student like myself would be caught in the middle of a world crisis. It started out just like any other day. Boring. Ordinary. Matter of fact, I was catching some Z's in the middle of class that day. Don't know why I remember that, but anyway, all things ordinary on that day would come to a crashing halt when we heard a bang out in the middle of the hallway. The assault on Earth had began. With soldiers guarding every entrance and exit of the building, we were rushed to the auditorium, where I would meet my very short-lived friend, LaMelo. Everybody was in the auditorium ready for an announcement from the principal. Now this is what's bizarre. The principal was pretty much okay with accepting the aliens as our new overlords. I myself was not okay with this, and decided to do whatever I could to help in the resistance against the attack. And, surprisingly, the military force that was called to defend against the attack let me on their team. To this day, I still don't know why. My best theory is, well, they needed all the help that they could get. Very quickly, they rushed me onto a military helicopter. They had already begun plans to attack the mothership of the invasion, take it out, and hopefully the rest would flee when they realized their leader had been taken out. Now this is what's also bizarre. LaMelo was there, who was ready to help me in the invasion. I never knew they accepted him onto the team, but apparently they did. The pilots were very brave in their effort to go straight towards the mothership, but it would be very tragic in the end, because it would seem the aliens were already wise to our plan, and they would shoot down our shuttle before it would reach its destination. Although technically it would reach its destination, because it would crash land onto the top of the mothership. Now here's what's really unfortunate and what haunts me to this day. Only me and LaMelo, of all the soldiers that were on board that ship, although we were not technically soldiers, but the point is, he and I were the only survivors. The ringing in my ears, it was deafening. The heat coming from the burning fuel was overwhelming, and the dead body that greeted me outside, it was grisly. It was horrifying. I can still see it in my sleep to this day. But I found a walkie-talkie that had the general on, and he gave me every detail I needed to know in order to execute the plan that the others would not have a chance to ever be a part of. The general would instruct me to go down the hatch with the red light at the bottom, and at the end of a series of hallways, we would find the core of the very ship, which soldiers had already planted a bomb inside of, but the soldiers inside had become unresponsive. They must have been killed in action. So now it was up to us to detonate the bomb and finish what they had started, and finish the invasion once and for all. The general himself would meet us halfway and have an alien victim of his own right by his feet. It was great, but was their blood made of acid? Anyway, he would instruct me then to use extreme caution because my next mission was to go into the core of the ship to A, find out what happened to the soldiers that were sent inside, and B, to detonate the powerful explosive that had been planted inside and take out the mothership. What I would find inside the core will haunt me to this day as well. I would soon find out what happened to the soldier who had been sent inside. He was gone, but at least he took the guarding alien with him. So now the core was unguarded. So now all I had to do was detonate the explosive and get out of there. But I would be greeted with one last surprise. As I was preparing the explosive for detonation, the screen on the wall began to go static, a weird color of static, and then a strange voice was overheard. It was the alien overlord himself, begging me not to detonate the explosion, and he also offered me to be part of their ranks if I spared their ship. But I refused and chose to remain with the human race. Now the explosive was detonated and was going to explode at any time. I had to escape along with LaMelo as quick as possible. You know that scene from Return of the Jedi at the end where the Death Star was blowing up and the rebels had to escape as quickly as possible? You could honestly compare that to this, because I could feel the ship crumbling beneath me as I was trying to escape along with LaMelo. But one thing became painfully clear. The ship was already thousands upon thousands of feet in the air. My only way of escaping the ship's explosion was to jump. I thought for sure that I would not survive this, but I was okay with that because I knew once the smoke cleared that everybody else on Earth would be safe. But I gave one deep breath and I jumped. I would wake up in a hospital bed. I thought it was heaven because I was sure there was no way I could survive. But I would find out that I was still alive, but badly beaten. Even the doctor himself, who had had years of experience in the medical field, said it should be impossible that I'm still breathing right now. But I was alive. Nobody could figure out how, but I was. I would be hailed as a hero by everybody, even in my hospital bed. I would receive visits from people all across the town, and honestly, all across the nation, hailing me as a hero. Honestly, I didn't really enjoy the fame that much because I was afraid it would give me a big head. But after I was released from the hospital, I was given an invitation by the military. I was also given the Medal of Honor, regardless of the fact that I wasn't even in the military yet. I would gladly accept the invitation, and I would have to go through boot camp soon. But before I went to boot camp, I wanted to help in the cleanup effort. As soon as I began helping in the cleanup effort, it became painfully clear just how many innocent lives had been lost. Citizens, students, and teachers. So many had lost their lives. In fact, not everybody's body could be found. Some were obliterated, and some were crushed underneath the ship as debris fell from the sky. So many were gone. It hurt my heart so much. To this day, I still blame myself, because if I had acted sooner, maybe less people would have lost their lives. The community itself, matter of fact, the world itself, will never be the same after that day. But we all stood together as one, to heal as one, just as we fought as one. I spent the rest of my junior year in boot camp. The school didn't seem to mind it since I did save the place. And then I came back as a senior. Very first time that anybody had gone into boot camp without their high school diploma. It was quite weird, honestly. Senior year would come and go, and I would receive my diploma. And I would spend my summer vacation at a very great water park resort. But after I returned from my great and glorious vacation, I knew that my time at ROBLOX High School was about to come to an end. I had to go to the next step, which was college. Honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do emotionally, leaving ROBLOX High School, because I had called it my home, a place that I had risked my life to help protect. It was honestly heart-wrenching. ROBLOX College was a beautiful building. It was great. I would very soon find myself at home there. but my heart would still hurt deep down. A, because I still blamed myself for what happened at the alien invasion, and B, because, well, I was still homesick. But my time at Roblox College was cut short, because the college would be shut down. But before it was shut down, conveniently, I would find a portal to Minecraft inside the college. Like, what is this? It's almost like things were laid out just for me. So once the college was shut down, I would go back to Minecraft to be with Clyde. But before the college had shut down, I would find myself briefly trapped inside of Minecraft once again. The way that Minecraft portals work is they need time to recharge, just like your iPhones or whatever you guys have now. So it needed 2 days to recharge after I had first entered the dimension. But there was also a house that was right nearby, but it wasn't Clyde's house this time. Because I had entered through a different portal, I was in a different area of Minecraft. I would meet my new best friend, Isabella. Don't be confused though, she would not replace Clyde. She was pretty much the definition of a girly girl, but she also had a very, very short temper. She was honestly a pleasure to be with though. She was honestly great. She gave me hospitality in her house. Her father, Frank, was very, very hostile towards me. Not physically, just, well, he was just a bit of a pain. I don't know what his problem was, probably just protecting his daughter, which I admire, but he didn't need to badger me so much. Isabella would very soon introduce me to her own best friend, Cassie, who was honestly the flip side of Isabella. It was honestly confusing, but you know what they say, opposites attract. Cassie was, well, somewhat short-tempered, like Isabella was, but not like Isabella. Nobody's like Isabella. A few days passed, and the portal would be recharged again, and I would return to Roblox College. Shortly after that, though, the college would be shut down, and what I would do is I would return to Roblox High School briefly so I could meet with Clyde and convince him to come with me through the portal in the college so that I could have Isabella and Clyde together in the same area so I could be with them both, because I had already planned to move to Minecraft permanently and only visit Roblox when the military needed me.
Quite an interesting story, if I do say so myself. But you have seen nothing yet. The stories that you have heard thus far pale in comparison to the adventures that I would go on with my new friends. Those who have heard the story have called it a fairy tale. Some have called it a myth. But I like to call it a legacy. My legacy. Mike's legacy.